What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Torque Riot. So we're still back on the old RX8. Today our main goal is body work. So this little guy is driving me up the wall, so this is the first thing we're going to do. Get rid of this little bit of rust, throw some body filler in there, call it a day for that. After that, we're going to move on to this little protectant film. You can see how nasty it is. So we'll try to either steam it off or we'll get the heat gun, peel it off, a little piece right there, and then on the other side. Then after that, we're going to get our Rage Gold out, work on our little panel here, put our body filler in there, sand it down smooth, put a nice little coat of primer on there. After that, we're going to move on to the front. A couple of these spots where we did some tack welding to put the new piece in. I'll throw some quick filler in there, clean that up as well. And then after that, we'll start moving on to scuffing all the surfaces so we can get that primered in. And after that's primered, then we'll start looking to get some paint done. So it'll be pretty good today. Hopefully we get a lot done. So let's go ahead and let's get started. All right, you guys, check it out. So if you remember this small little rust spot right there, it turned into a nice good sized hole. We managed to fix that. We cut the rust out. We welded in a new piece. we got our body filler, put a nice layer of body filler on it. After that, we sanded it down. Then we got our glazing putty, put that over the top, sanded it down. We still have our nice little line that goes across here, so it looks pretty good there. Threw some primer on it, so I'm happy with that. Then we move down here. Now this, as you can see, there's still some variations there that I need to address. But for now, I threw a mass amount of body filler on here to clean this up. It took forever to sand. That's okay. There's still some spots over here I need to clean up. So I'll probably get the glazing putty off camera and I'll go ahead and straighten this out a little more. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. And top of that, we went off to the front, clean up these little guys with the body filler. They don't look too bad either. Everywhere that we managed to get some overspray from the weld-through primer, it didn't really stick, so I need to sand this really good before we actually spray it. But off camera again, so off camera I'm going to put some glazing putty on the bottom of that. I'll finish that off. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to remove this. Once I remove this, I'll move on to removing this bracket underneath of that. And after that, we can work on sanding this all down so we can get the engine bay primered in. We'll probably paint the engine bay right after that. After we do that, we'll move on to our doors. We'll try to primer our doors, sand them down as well, and spray them. And then we'll continue on with all of this, spraying that. So it's getting late, and I need to go get some food. So I'll catch you tomorrow. All right, you guys, it's the next day. So we're gonna continue on the old RX8. We need to do some sanding today. We need to start prepping these areas for paint. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the doors. I'm gonna start on the back side of the doors. Start sanding them down, prepping those for paint. Now, this vinyl stuff right here that Mazda puts on from the factory is quite thick. So what I decided to do, I'm gonna leave it on there, I'm gonna tape it off. And even though you can still see some of the yellow behind it, I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna have a buddy come back, put vinyl over the top of this again anyways to make it a little more fresh. So we'll leave that there for the time being. On top of the doors, we'll probably do some of the small stuff. We'll pull this outside, clean it, sand it down. We got the gas cap that's hiding right there. We got a couple mirror ends, a couple of small little pieces that go behind the rear tire there. After we do that, we'll move on to probably the underside of the hood. We still got the trunk. We're gonna do underside of that. So hopefully we'll get all those painted. We may have to pull the canopy outside. It's starting to get pretty windy, and painting in the wind is not very fun. There's not exactly a whole lot of room in this tiny little garage, if you can't tell already. So we'll go ahead, we'll get started. So let's start sanding. Alright, you guys, so we got everything sanded down that we needed to get sanded down for the time being. All the small piecemeal stuff, you know, the mirror plates, the little accent pieces that go behind the fenders there. We got all the latches. We got the little door for the gas cap. We got our rear wing. We got a little trim piece that goes down there. I still need to order another one of those. I forgot about that. We also went ahead, we sanded all the backs of the doors. I did some body filler on a couple of the doors. Now, I'm not too worried about this right now when I prime and paint the backside of this. So once I get this hung back on the car, we'll sand that on smooth. Now the back of the hood, I went ahead and removed the trim piece off of there. Now you saw me sand the entire bit of the car. So what I'm gonna do is actually gonna prime the top of the car, or the top of the hood rather, a couple times, because there's microfiber cracks all throughout the hood. You probably can't really see it on the camera, but the entire hood had microfiber cracks. It didn't look very good. So I went ahead, sanded that down, and then we also sanded the back of the trunk lid. So that's good. Still need to pull all the emblems off the back. We'll do that once the hood and trunk and everything's back onto the car. Still need to pull the rear bumper out. Pull the bumper out, and then you pull the trim pieces off the bottom of that. So first thing tomorrow, we're going to set up our little 10x20 canopy outside. It's got a little side skirt, so we'll have a little makeshift booth outside. Probably, hopefully anyways, a little bit better than my makeshift booth I had set up for the bike. We shall see. So anyways, I'll catch you guys first thing in the morning. What's going on, guys? It's the next morning. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab our canopy, get that set up outside. After that, we're going to grab some of our 2x4s. We're going to start setting up stuff so we can get our doors set up inside the canopy so we can get them primed and sprayed. On top of that, we got all the small piecemeal parts that we need to grab, figure out how to get them all set up so we get them sprayed as well. I was thinking a little bit, perhaps I should have painted all the door jambs, etc. beforehand, perhaps the engine bay, same with the trunk area in the back, but it's going to be alright, so we'll go ahead and get started. So anyways, let's get to it. Alright, you guys, so we finally got this little makeshift paint booth up. Took me all day, but as you can see, we got 3 walls. I have decided that I'm not going to put the 4th wall up, even though I perhaps should. I was thinking that both side entrances had a zipper, but only the one side does. I was going to put a fan system in there, but given what we're spraying for now, I think we'll just let it be. Whenever we spray the car, then we'll definitely look to kind of filter out the contaminants from coming in and spraying. But as you can see, we got everything set up. We got both small doors hung. We got front doors, those are set up. Got the one piece sitting there for the rear. I got my tire sitting there as weight, nice ballast. All the small pieces hung up was here, so all the little hinges, so that should be pretty quick. Shouldn't be too bad to spray everything. Hopefully it goes pretty fast for the most part, but like everything in my head, it goes faster than it actually does. Because this legitimately took me all day just to get this done. So anyways, let's go ahead and start mixing some primer. Let's get to spraying. Alright, so we got the parts primed in. They look okay. I was told I should try to reduce the primer that I got, so I did. I'm used to using a 2.0 nozzle. I used the 2.0 nozzle. It sprayed pretty terrible for the most part. I should have stopped. I got some runs here and there, but I mean overall it's not terrible. I mean it doesn't look terrible anyways. Looks like a flat base coat for the most part. There's a few runs more on the like here on this back piece. You can probably pick it up a little bit, maybe not, but you can almost see there's a run. There it is, right through there. I'm not a big fan of that. So I kind of wish I just stuck to my guns with what I usually use for primer, but that's okay. So the next thing we're going to do, we'll let this dry a little bit longer. It's starting to get late on us. So maybe another 30 minutes or so, we'll start shooting some base coat on this stuff. I got to bring some lights out here so I can see a little bit better. But anyways, let's get back to shooting some base, huh? Alright you guys, it's the next day. So it turned into a slightly rough night. It started to rain on us, get quite windy. So I ended up having to bring everything in the garage, and as you know, I don't have a whole lot of room in the garage. So the garage is kind of stuffed, if you will. There's even more parts on the other side of the car. You can almost see them under there. But I think overall the paint came out pretty good. Hopefully the camera could pick it up pretty good. I mean, it's nice, it's smooth. It looks good overall. Little darker than I would like, but I think overall it'll be just fine. Now I know for future use to look at the primer color before I actually buy it. I shouldn't have got black. I should have gone with the white or a silver type of color, more of a gray rather. But I mean, it almost looks like maroon, but I think once the sun hits it, I think it'll really start to pop. There's a lot of metallic in there, so it looks pretty good for the most part. Pretty happy with it. It's really cold out today, so I don't really feel like doing any more painting today. What I'm going to do tomorrow is set up the booth again, and then I'll probably aim to paint the rear bumper. Still need to do the wing. And then we did happen to get our new to me anyways, front bumper in. So let's have a look at that. So it's over here hiding in the back of the bed. So I think we'll go ahead and actually pull this out, see what kind of condition that's in. So anyways, that'll be it for today, and then we're gonna work on some video editing itself, and then tomorrow we'll get back to painting so we can finish off this video for you guys. So anyways, let's get to this bumper. Let's open it up. I'd say overall it looks pretty good. A few scratches here and there. It's not too bad though. A little nick or dent, if you call it that. Again, small scratches, not that big a deal. We'll take this emblem off, clean this up anyways. We're going to epoxy primer it. Grill looks good. There's another small dent right there. That'd be nothing to worry about. We can easily fix that. Some more scratches, all this paint residue. It looks okay overall, so I think it'll be just fine. Painted on the old marker light there. Hopefully that comes off easily. But I think overall, I think it'll be just fine. So that's good. One less thing to worry about. Just need to get it painted. What's going on, guys? It's the next day. So today I'm going to work on finishing painting underneath the hood. I'm going to get the trunk off the back of the car. I'm going to paint the underside of that. I'm going to also look to paint the rear wing. I'm just going to paint those in the backyard. I don't feel like setting up the canopy, my little cheap paint booth for the time being. After that, I'm going to set up a little paint booth in the garage since I'm leaving the car in the garage at the moment, so I can finish painting all of this stuff right here. And then I'll work on painting underneath the hood. I can paint this as well. Paint behind the rear bumper. And then I'll call that a wrap for this video. But once I get all the door jambs painted, I'll be able to finally get the doors installed. so we can get sanding away on the rest of the car so we can get the entire car painted. Then I really need to focus on the engine bay after that. So anyways, let's go ahead and get these parts outside and let's get to work. Alright you guys, so we got under the hood painted. It looks pretty good. You see how it's still drying. It's quite the reflection right there. I like it. We got the wing painted. This is alright, kind of hard to see here in the corner, not much light, but there's a little bit of trash in there. I had a couple little bugs fly in there. It's not that big of a deal. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and sand that down, maybe 600 or 800 grit sandpaper, and I'll re-clear coat that a little bit later on. I really need to find a paint booth that I can rent out so I can actually spray in there. It'd be a lot better than being out here painting the old garage. But for now, this works out good. We also got underneath the hood painted, or underneath the trunk rather. So it looks pretty good. I think overall it's not too bad. Given that you can't see this, I'm not worried too much about any small trash that might have got in there. But overall, I'm pretty happy. I did a couple clear coats more on these pieces. I didn't like how they looked earlier, so we finished those off. So anyways, so we need to go back, start working on the door jambs underneath the trunk as well. So anyways, let's get back to it. What's going on, guys? It's the next day. So it's time to get back on the RX8. We need to start sanding all of our door jambs so we can start painting the door jambs. So we're going to start doing that this morning. We're going to come back to the back of the car as well. We're going to do the same thing. Clean this up, paint it down. Then we need to go to the other side of the car. We also need to sand these door jambs down. But if you remember, there's a small dent right here. So I'm going to get either the heat gun or my steamer, try to pull these off. And then we'll try to pull this dent out. Small crease, it's not that big of a deal. But I think I want to try to do that before I sand these down and start painting on this side. I don't think it'll be that hard, but we shall see. So anyways, well, once I finish doing that, I'll try to set up a little makeshift paint booth again in the garage because it's windy as hell outside and it's driving me up the wall. So anyways, let's get to work. Alright you guys, so we got the film off of the car. It took a lot longer than it should have, but it's off. On the other side, we did the same thing. We got the film off as well. And we got the dent pulled out for the most part. It's not too bad. A little bit of wavy, not that big of a deal, but at least the film is off. The main bit of dent's out. I'll get some body filler and just clean it up a little bit. But overall it looks good. So next we're gonna go ahead, we'll start sanding all the door jambs. We'll get that cleaned up, and then we'll move on to the back. It is quite dirty as well. We'll get that cleaned up, sand that down. Now this isn't as paramount because most of this is hidden anyways, but we'll still do that. And you can see how dirty this is. We still gotta clean that as well. So anyways, let's get back to it, huh? Alright you guys, that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We got a good bit of painting done, which was positive. We got behind the doors painted, we got behind the hood, behind the trunk, we got small piecemeal stuff like the mirror caps, some of the hinges. And we went ahead, we scuffed all the door jambs, We got underneath the trunk, we got that scuffed ready for paint. We managed to get our front bumper in, so that's good. Get that installed before too long. So in the next episode, we're going to set up our makeshift paint booth in here so we can get these door jambs painted. And after that, we'll go ahead and install our doors onto the car. We got to mount our front fenders as well, so we can get this all prepped for paint. So if you guys like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.